Chaos is brewing in Minnesota. Viking Nation. The storm starts now with a number that stops everything. $90 million. A superstar wide receiver is being warned against. The 2026 schedule just revealed a date that could take the Vikings to a brand new country. And a $75 million quarterback just became a cut candidate. And Minnesota is first in line. 3 stories that redefine what this offseason looks like in purple and gold. If you echo louder than you breathe, hit like and subscribe before the first name drops. We start with a warning so strong that one of the most respected insiders in Vikings media used the phrase, "Do not even consider picking up the phone." Stay locked. There's a double cliffhanger at the end that will keep you up tonight. Someone powerful just told the Vikings front office to back away. Slowly. And the name at the center of that warning? Tyreek Hill, the $90 million wide receiver. The same Tyreek Hill who spent years terrorizing defenses in Kansas City and Miami is now a free agent. And the moment his name appeared in Vikings speculation, Score North team insider Judd Zulgad went on record with one of the strongest statements of this entire offseason. Do not even consider picking up the phone to call Tyreek Hill or his agent. Those are not the words of a casual observer. That is someone who has covered this franchise for years, looking at the full picture and saying, do not do this. So why? Let's break it down piece by piece. On March 1st, Tyreek Hill turns 32 years old. He is currently coming out of a walking boot, and the earliest projection for his return to the field is Week 1 of the 2026 season. That means the Vikings would be paying top dollar for a receiver who hasn't played meaningful football in months and who is entering the final chapter of what has been a turbulent career. And then there's the off-field history. Zulgad noted he looked up Hill's arrests and said, quote, "They take up a good portion of the page. That is not a minor footnote. That is a franchise risk arriving at a time when Minnesota already has a fragile situation in the wide receiver room. Jordan Addison, the former first-round pick, has been arrested 3 times in 3 consecutive off-seasons, 140 miles per hour in Minnesota, a DUI outside LAX, misdemeanor trespassing at a casino in Florida. Kevin O'Connell benched Addison for the first quarter of the Week 5 London game after he missed a walkthrough. Addison is 24 years old and clearly battling issues that go beyond football. Now imagine adding Tyreek Hill, a player with documented confrontational history at both Kansas City and Miami, to that same locker room. And here is the deepest cut of all, Justin Jefferson. The man who leads this receiver room is described by Zulgad as, quote, one of the lowest maintenance superstar wide receivers, not in the league currently, but ever. Jefferson has built something sacred in that building, a culture of professionalism, a standard of excellence. Hill does not threaten Jefferson's status on this team, but he absolutely threatens the environment Jefferson helped build. Do you think the Vikings should pursue Tyreek Hill? Drop your answer in the comments below, because this debate is dividing the fan base right down the middle. But while everyone argues about the wide receiver room, the 2026 schedule just dropped a headline that no one saw coming. And it might be sending the Vikings to a country they have never played in before. A brand new country, a brand new stage, and the Minnesota Vikings might be about to make history all over again. The NFL officially announced that the San Francisco 49ers will host the 2026 regular season game scheduled for Mexico City. And here's why that matters directly to S-Call Nation. The Vikings have the 49ers on their road schedule for the 2026 season. That puts Minnesota squarely in the conversation as one of the potential opponents for that Mexico City showdown. Joe Nelson of SI on Vikings narrowed the realistic candidates to 6 teams. The Vikings, Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders, Miami Dolphins, Philadelphia Eagles, and Washington Commanders, after eliminating NFC West rivals Arizona, Los Angeles, and Seattle. That means Minnesota has roughly a 1 in 6 shot at making the trip south of the border. Now consider the full picture of what this would mean. The Vikings are already the most successful international traveler in recent NFL history. They are 5-1 all-time in the international series. They went 5-0 in London before suffering their lone overseas loss last year in Ireland. They made league history as the first team to play back-to-back international games in 2 different countries in a single season. Mexico City would be a first. A brand new country, a brand new fan base, and a Viking invasion that purple and gold fans across North America would travel to witness. The strongest competition for that slot comes from the Las Vegas Raiders, who have a powerful presence in Mexico and are projected to draft Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza, who spoke publicly and proudly about his Hispanic heritage before winning college football's most prestigious individual award. That storyline would write itself, but the 49ers-Eagles matchup carries its own gravity, given the playoff history and the star power on both sides. The full 2026 NFL schedule will expand to 7 international countries: England, Germany, Spain, France, Brazil, Australia, and Mexico. The Cowboys and Saints have already been placed in Brazil and France respectively. The 49ers will appear in both Mexico City and Australia. Minnesota's path to Mexico runs through one decision in the NFL's scheduling office, and that decision could be announced any day now. Would you travel to Mexico City to watch the Vikings play? Drop your city in the comments, and let's see how far Viking Nation reaches. And while the schedule picture develops, the quarterback room in Minneapolis is about to get a very interesting addition, because a $75 million signal caller just became available, and the Vikings are being named as strong candidates to ink him at a fraction of that price. The name isn't getting the attention it deserves. While the media has spent days debating Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, Mac Jones, and Anthony Richardson, one quarterback keeps getting overlooked. And he might be the smartest, cleanest move Minnesota can make this offseason. The name? Geno Smith, 2-time Pro Bowl selection. The quarterback who engineered one of the most remarkable career resurgences in NFL history when he took Seattle by storm in 2022. And right now, he is on the verge of being cut by the Las Vegas Raiders, with $75 million in career earnings and something left to prove. Here is how this falls apart for Las Vegas. The Raiders traded a third-round pick to the Seahawks to acquire Smith last offseason, then handed him a 2-year extension worth $75 million. The head coach who orchestrated that deal, the one with long-time personal ties to Smith, is already gone. The Raiders own the #1 overall pick and are a near lock to draft Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza in April. New head coach Clint Kubiak has no history with Smith and no reason to keep him. NFL.com's Matt Okada flagged Smith as a notable AFC cut candidate on February 16th, writing, quote, "Pete Carroll is gone, and I'd be very surprised if his hand-picked quarterback is not soon to follow." Cutting Smith gives Las Vegas only $8 million in cap savings while absorbing $18.5 million in dead money. So the Raiders will have to really want out. But the expectation is clear. Smith will be available before March ends. And at 35 years old, with a league-leading 17 interceptions in 2025 raising legitimate questions about his current level, he is going to arrive hungry, motivated, and willing to sign for value. Heavy. Com's Max Dibble projects the Vikings could land Smith on a 1-year deal in the range of $10 million, roughly what they paid Sam Darnold 2 seasons ago. Pair Smith with Tanner McKee, the Eagles' backup who could be acquired for a 3rd-round pick, and J.J. McCarthy, and Kevin O'Connell suddenly has 3 quarterbacks, 3 development timelines, and a real competition at training camp. Does Geno Smith make sense in Minnesota? Hit that like button if you think this is the value move of the offseason, and drop your prediction in the comments. But don't you dare close this video yet, because the conclusion is about to show you exactly what Minnesota's offseason looks like when you stack all 3 stories together. And one of the cliffhangers involves a decision that comes down to the next 30 days. 3 stories, 1 direction. Skull Nation, let's put this together. The Vikings are being warned, loudly, publicly, by their own insiders, to stay away from Tyreek Hill and protect the culture that Justin Jefferson has spent years building in that locker room. At the same time, the 2026 schedule is opening a door to Mexico City that no Vikings team has ever walked through, and the franchise with the best international record in recent NFL history has a genuine shot at making history on a brand new continent. And threading through all of it is the quarterback question, the one that defines Kevin O'Connell's future in Minneapolis, where Geno Smith is emerging as the quiet, intelligent value move that could give this coaching staff exactly what it needs heading into training camp. Think about what that 3-pronged quarterback room looks like. McCarthy gets his chance to compete and grow. McKee arrives as a developmental piece with genuine upside. Smith, a seasoned veteran who has played in massive moments, mentors both of them while pushing for starts alongside Justin Jefferson, one of the 2 or 3 best receivers in the entire NFL. That is not a broken room. That is a competition. That is a standard. That is exactly what Kevin O'Connell said he would build. Here is what Skull Nation must do right now. 1. Smash that. Like if you believe Kevin O'Connell makes the right call on every single one of these decisions and keeps this team moving in the right direction. 2. Drop a comment with your verdict. Does Geno Smith fix the quarterback room, or does Minnesota need to be bolder? 3. Hit subscribe, because the next video dropping on this channel goes deeper into the quarterback race, and you cannot afford to miss it when the dominoes start falling. Now here is the edge of the cliff. Smith's release from Las Vegas is not official yet. The Raiders have until early March to make their move, and if another team calls first, Minnesota loses their value quarterback before the market even opens. The clock is running. And here is the second drop. The Mexico City announcement could come within days. 6 teams are waiting. 1 slot is available. And if the NFL chooses Minnesota, the Vikings will play their first ever regular season game on Mexican soil, in a stadium that will be purple the moment Skull Nation buys its tickets. 2 decisions, 2 countdowns, 2 moments that will define what 2026 looks like in purple and gold. Viking Nation, the off-season battlefield is here. Subscribe, stay locked, and let's make the NFC North bleed purple. We ride together.